Yeah, take care.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're running a little late on time. So I'm just going to call Yosef to the stage. And his talk is how I gave 90 instances of feedback to my team last month and why they loved it. Yosef is an R&D team leader and public speaker. We're really excited to have him present for us tonight. So I'll bring him up. All right,
Hi, thank you
Yosef,
very much.
how
Hi,
are you?
I'm fine. For me, it's morning, so good morning, good night, wherever you are.
Yes, yes, it's good night for me. So, all right, I won't take up too
Yeah.
much more of your time. I will get your presentation started and
Okay.
go right ahead.
So, hi everyone. I'm very happy to be here. When I do this talk in person, I ask the audience, how many of you think that you get enough feedback from your manager? So, do you think so? Uh, Usually when I give this talk, so all of the audience, most of the audience say that they are not getting enough feedback from the managers. Feedback is the best way we can improve ourselves. It's the way we can um, be more effective at work. We can stop doing what's not effective, and we can do more of what is effective. So why managers don't give enough feedback to the people they manage? I think that this is because managers don't know what to say. We are never taught how to do it, how to deliver feedback. So we prefer not to do it, prefer to postpone it to maybe some other time, maybe wait to the next one on one, maybe wait to the next annual review, and eventually it becomes irrelevant or the problem becomes much bigger. So the conversation is even harder. Today, I'm going to share with you a simple feedback model that I've been using for the last couple of years now. It has been very helpful for me and for my team, and I was able to deliver a lot of effective feedback to my team. So we're going to talk about the feedback model, why I love it, and the reaction I got from the people I manage. So first, a little bit about myself. My name is Yosef Arbiv. I work for Cisco ET&I, which is the Emerging Technologies and Incubation Group at Cisco. And currently, I am the Open Telemetry Engineering Group Leader. I have 12 years of experience as a team leader and engineer. So the feedback model that I'm going to share with you today is from the Manager Tools company. They are the one who developed this feedback model. The Manager Tools is a consultant company in the US. They are recording a weekly podcast for over 16 years now that have more than 400,000 downloads weekly. They also have 150,000 subscribers that are paying them money for additional content. So if you like what you hear today, I really encourage you to search for more content from the Manager Tools. I really like their guidance. So the feedback model is made of 4 steps. We are going to talk about each one of those 4 steps separately, and then we're going to I will share some examples on how exactly does it sound, and then we will have some more deep walkthrough into each one of those steps separately. So the first step of the feedback model is to ask the direct, can I give you some feedback? Or do you have a second? We want to make sure that the other side, the person that you are giving the feedback to, is willing to hear us, is willing to get the feedback from us, and that they can hear us right now. The second step is to describe the behavior that the other person did that you want to give the feedback on. It can be a positive behavior if this is a positive feedback, or it can be a negative behavior in case of a negative feedback. So in this part, we will describe the behavior. When you are late to a meeting, or when you update the Jira status when you are done with it, or when you open a pull request that resolves more than one issue at a time. The third step is to describe the results of this behavior. Here's what happens. So, for example, if the person is late to a meeting, when you are late to a meeting, here's what happens. It makes us lose time, and we may not be able to finish on time, and disrespectful of other people's time. So this is the third step. We want to describe the consequences of the behavior. And the fourth step is to talk about the future. We always want to finish the feedback when we're talking about the future, so we keep the feedback focused on the future. So in case of a positive feedback, we'll simply say thank you, keep up the good work, thanks. In the case of a negative feedback, we will ask the direct to work on that, to change the behavior in the future. So it will sound something like, can you work on that? Will you be able to change it in the future? And we want the direct to respond positively. We want to hear them commit to actually changing their behavior in the future. So let's have some examples of how it actually sounds when I give someone feedback using this feedback model. So it's something like, hi, can I give you some feedback? When you update the Jira status, when you're done with it, it helps me keep track of the sprint progress. Thanks for that. Or when you send the meeting agenda in advance, it helps everyone come prepared to the meeting and makes the meeting more effective. Keep it up. Another example would be, hey, do you have a second? When you open a pull request that resolves 3 different issues, it makes it harder to review it. Can you change it in the future? So the first step is to ask if I can give a feedback. The second step is to describe the behavior that we are giving the feedback on. The third step is to describe the results of this behavior, how it affects me, how it affects other people. And the fourth step is either to say thank you in case of a positive feedback or to ask them to change their behavior in the future in a case of a negative feedback. So let's talk about each one of those steps separately. The first step is to ask the direct if we can give them feedback. The reason that this is so important is first because we want to make sure that the other side is actually willing to listen and they are in a state of mind that they can hear us. There is no sense of talking to someone if their mind is somewhere else. So we want to make sure that we're not disturbing them, that they're actually willing to let us give them some feedback. Of course, if our direct tell us that they can't, that they don't want to hear us for some reason, maybe they are busy, maybe they are in the middle of something. So we will drop it and we will try to give them some the feedback in some other time. The reason that this is so important is because it it changed the state of mind in the direct. So they know that they are now getting feedback. So it's not just some random conversation, but they know that we are delivering them feedback right now. So they are in a state of mind of receiving feedback from us, from their manager. The second step is to describe the behavior that the direct did. In this step, it is very important to describe something objective that the rep did. It must be something that they actually did, that they have control of, not something that we think they think, not something that something that they thought or other thing. It must be something that we can see that they did. So imagine that the room is videoed with a surveillance camera. So it must be something that we can see on the video later, or we can hear on the video if it's recorded. So we don't want to say something like when you come to when you come to the office with this attitude, or when you're upset during a phone call. We want to say something like when you are smiling during a phone call with a customer, or when you are yelling at someone in the office. It must be something that we can see them do or we can hear them do. It must be something objective so they know exactly what we are giving the feedback on and they know what should they change in order to behave better in the future. The third step is to describe how their behavior is affecting us or other people or the company or our business. So we want to describe how what they did is either good, has a positive effect on us or on other people around them, or it has negative results on the company or at anyone else. In this case, in this step, it is okay to describe something that is not objective, something that we think or how we feel, because here we describe their behavior results. So it is okay to say something that is not completely objective. And the fourth step is to talk about the future. It is very important to finish the feedback with a when we talk about the future, because we want to make sure that they know that we are not picking up on them on something that they did in the past for no reason. We want them to be better in the future. We want them to have a better performance in the future. We can't control the past. We can't do anything with what already happened. So the only reason that we're doing this conversation, the only reason that we are giving them feedback is because we want them to be better in the future. So we always finish the feedback with something that is related to the future. So in case of a positive feedback, we'll say, thanks, keep up the good work, keep it up, something like that. And in the case of a negative feedback, we'll ask them to behave differently in the future. So in the case of a negative feedback, we will ask them to change it in the future. Can you work on that? Can you change it for me in the future? This is the only part of the feedback model where we have two different steps, right? For the positive feedback and for the negative feedback. And in the negative feedback, it's really important to ask, to wait for them to respond, to get the person that we are giving the feedback to answer yes to this question. We want them to commit to actually changing their behavior in the future. The reason that we want to make sure that they are committing to changing the behavior is because when they are saying, yes, I will work on that, it increases the chances that they are actually going to change their behavior in the future. So we want them to answer yes to this question. We want them to commit to actually changing their behavior in the future. So I know I'm sure that you're all thinking, isn't it a little bit awkward? It sounds like a not so natural conversation. It's maybe sound like a script that someone wrote for you. And it's really weird to have this kind of conversation with the people I manage, the people I work to day. But it was also like that for me. When I just started to give him feedback, it felt a little awkward. But the importance of feedback is so high. The feedback is a great gift that we can give to the people we manage. It helps them be better each and every single day at work. Imagine that your manager knows something on your behavior that can make you a better professional. Wouldn't you like your manager to tell it to you? It is okay to have a little bit of awkward conversations, but to help the people you manage be better, to help your team be more productive, and to be a better manager for your people and for the company that you are working in. And another thing is that as you will give more and more feedback, it will become more natural to you. You will have it more easily. It will become not awkward at all. And the people you manage will also get used to it and will be really happy to get it from you. So I really encourage you to start using this feedback model and to start practicing it. And as you will give more and more feedback, you'll be better at it and it will feel more natural to you. So why I love it and why I've been giving so much feedback for the last couple of years. The first reason is that it takes no time at all. It takes 10 seconds to deliver feedback. You can do it Whenever the other person has some free time, when you catch them at the hallway, of course, not in front of other people, but you don't have to wait to some meeting or to schedule something in your calendar. The second reason is that this is behavior based. The second step of the feedback model that forces us to describe an exact behavior that someone did makes it focused on a behavior, on something that the other side can control, something that's in their hands. And it makes the conversation less emotional because they know that we're not talking on them, we're talking on something that they did. And the feedback model is always focused on the future. We are not punishing them. We are not just picking up on them. We are talking on how they can be better in the future. So we are always talking on the future. We're never talking on the past. Let's talk on some of the responses that I got from the people I give the feedback to. So you can see the cat's face. This is the usual expression that I get. Hi.
Okay, hi, yeah, it seems like we've run into some technical difficulties. I'm gonna see if I can get your presentation back up on the screen.
Yeah, I just shared it again.
Okay.
So where were we? Just 1 second. Okay, we were here. Okay, so this is the face I usually get when I start delivering the feedback, when I start rolling it out. And the great thing about it is that after a couple of weeks, when people say that they're getting a lot of positive feedback, and even the negative feedback is not about them, it's about something they control, something that they can change, this expression disappears. People say thanks. People like to get feedback. People enjoy the feedback. So this is the first response that I get. Another response I get, usually when I deliver positive feedback, I get this a lot. I was wondering if this is actually good or not. And this is something that can really explain why feedback is so important. Because they did something and they were thinking if this is actually good or not. They didn't know if they should be doing more of that or they should stop doing that. And by me telling them that this is actually a good behavior, that this is something that I want to see more, it helps them know that this is something that they should repeat in the future. And it helps them be more productive in the future. This is something that I get usually when I deliver negative feedback. So people explain why they had to do it. They say, I had to do this because ABC. And this is okay. It's very natural to try to explain why you did something wrong. And I totally understand that. But I'm not interested in discussing why you had to do it. I understand that you had good reason to do it. I'm just asking you not to do it in the future. So can you please work on that for me? This is how the conversation sounds, and this is completely normal. And this is my favorite response. Um, when someone says to me that for a positive feedback, that this is the result of a previous feedback that you gave me. So I knew I had to do it, so I did it again. And this is actually why this feedback is so good. I can actually see the results of giving feedback, how it improves my team effectiveness. So last thing before we wrap up is that I wanted to keep it positive. Usually when people think about feedback, they think about negative feedback. When I give feedback, I try to give 90%, at least 90% of positive feedback. I do it because first, there is much more positive behavior than negative behavior. Most of what people do is good. So there are there's much more positive things we can give feedback on. The second reason is because positive feedback is much more effective than negative feedback. It is much more easier to keep doing something that you are already doing rather to change your behavior and stop doing something that you're already doing. To change your behavior, it's much harder. And the last reason is that when you give a lot of positive feedback, people know that you can see them. You are seeing the good things they are doing. So when you're giving them negative feedback, they will be open to receive it, and the chances that they will implement it are much higher. So again, this is the feedback model of the manager tools. If you like it, I really encourage you to search for more content on the manager tools feedback model. I really encourage you to start using the feedback model. Has been great for me for the last couple of years. I'd be happy to take any question now, and thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Yosef. That was really, hold on, let me remove this. Okay. Yeah, that was a really amazing talk, really thoughtful. It makes me want to work on a team that you lead with this sort of feedback model, especially when you talk about wanting to have like future minded conversations with
Yeah,
people. I think that
hmm
that's really great. I feel like it would make me feel like heard and noticed. So, yeah, thank
definitely.
you so much
Thank
for
you.
that.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, yes, take care. Have a good night.